So, dear colleagues, I see that there are 110 participants right now, so I think we could start. First of all, I want to thank you for joining, and let me introduce myself. My name is Igor Samohodsky, and I'm the Executive Director of the Ukrainian Infrastructure Association. I'm very happy that we co-organized this event jointly with the PIARC, World Road Association, with the Ministry of Infrastructure, with the Ukrainian Road Agency and their reform support team. So first of all, the topic of the seminar is winter service on roads and other public spaces. So I want to thank speakers from all over the world for joining us. And even moreover, we have more than 60 countries of participants origins. So I think that this is the best opportunity to share international practice and to exchange the latest knowledge you have on the topics. So this is all, of course, is happening due to PIARC, due to their international cooperation and expert network. So we are really in Ukraine very grateful for that. So as you might know, in Ukraine, we have very severe winters sometimes. So I think that your experience will help us. We have 3 days agenda on the seminar. So each day we have only 3-hour sessions. The agenda is available on the website. I will share it in chat. So today we have opening and we have after that 2 panels. If you want to ask any questions, please fill the Google form by the link or ask directly in the chat, and the speakers will answer orally after the panel. So I see that we have at the moment Andrij Ivko, who is the deputy head of Ukrainian Road Agency, and I know that the representative of the Ministry of Infrastructure is on her way to us. It's Deputy Minister on European integration, because the minister is right now at the meeting. Unfortunately, he has a very urgent meeting at the presidential office, but we'll have deputy minister with us. So my proposal is to ask Patrick Malléjacq to help us with opening and with the presentation of PIARC and your input into that, because since Anna Yurchenko is joining us in several minutes, so I would like to ask Patrick to start with that. Patrick, do you hear me?
Yes, very well. Thank you, Igor. So that's fine with me, and thank you for the confidence. I will do my best, and I will now share my screen. And do you see this slide properly?
Yeah, I think we do.
Okay, perfect. So thank you, everyone, and thank you to our colleagues in Ukraine and our colleagues from the Winter Service Committee in PIARC, of course, for organizing this seminar. It's always challenging to meet people in Zoom and remotely, and I hope that one day and in the near future, we will have the opportunity to meet face-to-face on this topic or on another topic, of course. And my sincere thanks to the Ministry of Infrastructure and the State Road Agency of Ukraine for their support and interest in these topics. So you may be wondering, there's 125 people registered and attending now, so maybe not all of you are familiar with PIARC. So what we are is the World Road Association. We were founded more than 110 years ago in 1909 as an association about roads. We are non-profit, non-political. And if you allow me, I would say that we are much older than the United Nations, for example. Our goal is to organize the exchange of knowledge, policy, and practice on everything that's related to roads and road transport. The way we do that is through committees of experts, through the sharing of reports, and through international seminars such as this one today. We have lots of members, and the lead members are member governments from all over the globe. We have 125 member governments. They can be high-income countries, such as Germany or Japan, or lower-income countries. And we really pay great attention to consider all countries on equal footing. We also have private sector companies, universities, regions, and even individuals as members. So this is who we are. And here you see our 4 lead missions, key missions. The first one is to be a forum, an international forum for the analysis and discussion of all the topics related to roads, and then to identify, develop, and disseminate best practice. What is working in one country may be very interesting for another country and may help those countries save money and save time. It can also help them identify new ideas. As I was saying 2 minutes ago, we really want to consider within our activities the needs of all countries, developing countries, rich countries, economies in transition fully. And we also design, produce, and promote tools for decision making. One example of that is HDM4, which is a software which is used to help with investments on roads. And the way we work is mainly thanks to the experience and knowledge of experts, international experts, more than 1,000, who work in our technical committees and task forces. So we don't have a large team in Paris, where our headquarters are located. We work through colleagues all over the globe who share their time and share their expertise and talk about road safety and other topics. 1,000 experts in about 20 committees and task forces. They are experts, so they do and they talk about what their current best practices are, what their case studies from their countries are on some topics that have been identified. This means that they can build a network of colleagues, of peers across the globe, which can be very useful when you have an issue that is unexpected. You know who to call. And they deliver neutral, non-commercial recommendations and guidelines. And those guidelines and recommendations are packaged, if I can say that, in various reports. We also publish case studies. We also organize literature reviews on some topics to provide quick guidance to our members. Other type of outputs are seminars and workshops like today's, as well as online manuals on some topics, software and tool. We have a very rich online dictionary that can help you translate road-related documents in your own language. And all these products are available in only French, English, and Spanish. And they are almost always available free of charge. And we also organize congresses and events, which are really great opportunities to disseminate our deliverables, because there's a lot of reports available. So we want to be sure that people know those reports, and for further discussions, of course. Some examples of reports that have been published recently tackle road safety audit guidelines, how to assess the budget needs for maintenance strategies, COVID-19, what have been the impacts on road and road transport agencies, how to improve tunnels resilience, how to plan for well-prepared projects, and as you can see in red here, the standardized data book, which we published almost 2 years ago now for the Gdansk Winter Congress. All these reports are available from our website, and on average, I can say that we publish 1 report every month, approximately. That's an average, but it gives you an idea of how many reports you can find on our website. We also have online manuals. These are actually websites focused on road safety, asset management, which I think could be interesting for today. They were updated in 2019, and they are very, very easy to use. You can check them from your smartphone if you want. They are presented in a way that is, I hope, very easy to understand. And they are not only one report, they are a gateway or a portal to lots of knowledge, which is nicely structured. Software such as HDM4, QRAM to help manage the transportation of dangerous goods in tunnels. This is also us. So as you may see from our website, we have hundreds of reports available. So that's a lot, but we need to continue actually, because roads and road transport keep improving. In many countries, roads represent about 80% of all inland transport, and they're really the gateway to remote or rural regions in particular. And in urban areas, roads are needed for cars, buses, car sharing, electric vehicles. All these fashionable transportation modes most of them require roads. This is why roads, we believe at PIARC, roads are key for equity, inclusivity, and accessibility. And roads are ready to support many sustainable and low carbon developments. And roads are here to stay, they're not going to disappear. And this is why we keep on working to improve the roads. We identify a large number of topics so that we serve the needs of our members and of the road community. The work is conducted through our technical committees and task forces, as I was presenting, and the members of those task forces and committees are officially appointed by PIARC member countries. So we are very open, but we are very focused on serving the needs of our members and in particular of our member governments. We develop a work plan that covers 4 years, and this plan is quite detailed, as you may see from our website, but it also reflects global trends, including trends that go beyond roads. For the 2020 to 2023 period, including today, those cross-cutting issues include climate change and resilience, which are very relevant for the seminar today, tomorrow and the day after, road safety and innovation. This is the picture of our strategic plan. Winter service is here, but you may be interested in many of these other topics, maybe not today, but for a future seminar, maybe. So winter service is really well positioned together with asset management and road safety under the umbrella of safety and sustainability. This committee is led by a colleague, Peter Nutz, who will be presenting as well and who is even moderating this seminar on PIARC's behalf. And together with his team, he's developing a large number of knowledge products and reports and organizing a congress, of course. Some of us have asked to work on PIARC to work on COVID. We did that. We published a report about a year ago on all the impact on roads. It's true that the world, I would like to say after COVID, but it's continuing, that the impact has been very significant. But we should not forget that we still have to address all societal challenges to reduce the carbon footprint of transportation, to help fight extreme poverty, to improve access and mobility for all, and to increase road safety. So we have to mix the impacts of COVID, such as digitalization, with all these policy objectives, and we help our member countries make policy choices that combine all these aims. This is why it's important to continue sharing information. What you are working on in Ukraine is probably very interesting for Argentina as well, and vice versa. So this is why PIARC exists, to help you colleagues meet and share your ideas, maybe share your issues or problems as well. We organize lots of events, such as today's event. We have many other planned, as you can see. Just last week, we organized a seminar on climate change adaptation with Uganda. In March, we will organize another one on rural areas with Paraguay. So lots of events. Also some conferences, such as the Symposium on Pavement Characteristics and the Conference on Tunnels Operations and Safety, which will take place in September and October next year. And a bit later, further down in 2023, the 27th World Road Congress, which will take place in Prague in the Czech Republic. And I hope we will see lots of colleagues from Ukraine there. So I would like to thank Ukraine for being a member of PIARC since 1995, if I'm correct. Member countries can take part in our council meeting, which is the General Assembly. They can also organize a national pavilion in our congresses. They can express technical priorities, and I am sure that during this week's seminar, you will identify topics that PIARC could work further on, and they can also appoint experts. Considering the topic of the seminar, I think it will be very important to discuss this Congress, which will take place less than 2 months from now, but Peter will do that in much more detail than I would. And I hope again to see you there. So again, thank you very much for your invitation and for your attention. And I remain at your disposal, and I will stay with you for some time. And back to you, Ihor.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for really putting all efforts from PIARC's side to make this event happen. And I'm sure that we are really interested in the further topics, into the future developments of joint cooperation with you. And I'm happy to announce that Anna Yurchenko, the Deputy Minister on European Integration, is with us. Anna, do you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Колеги, я хочу одне слово українською. Якщо ви хочете
Word
слухати
in Ukrainian.
українською,
If you want to listen in Ukrainian,
будь ласка, є кнопка в Zoom
please,
перемикатись між
there is
англійською і
the
українською мовою.
Zoom button. You can switch between Ukrainian and English.
Тому, пані Анно, я дуже
Therefore,
прошу вас сказати, і всі,
Anna
хто хоче
Yurchenko,
слухати
please
Анну на
speak up,
будь-якій мові,
and
натискайте
any
відповідну
language you
кнопку
want
в
to
Zoom.
speak, and you can speak your language of translation in the Zoom. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Igor. Thank you, dear colleagues. We are grateful to PIARC and the participants of this workshop that they helped the Ministry of Infrastructure to organize it. And today we are part of this discussion of this very sensitive issue of winter maintenance, which concerns us every time. I need to say that part of the program construction, over 90% of Ukrainian roads are under standards, and therefore we're speaking of establishing maintenance repair of the work. And so we had two tasks for that: to have funding for large-scale renewal of the documents within the project, roads within the projects, and thanks to that, over 13,500 roads were renewed, and this is results of a large team over the last 2 years. And secondly, development of the system for maintenance of new Ukrainian roads. This year, we started the progress of joining Ukrainian efforts and ensuring best maintenance, especially during the winter period, where you need to respond quickly to planned and emergency situations. We were able to step away from the headquarters on paper, and in 2020, we established a special center for quick response for emergencies. What is the headquarters that? This is a well-equipped telecommunication point with flat screens, aware of the situation on the road. Its work is according to the world standards, and on a full time, the state authorities are part of it that are ensuring good situation on the road. Within the headquarters 24/7, there are representatives of the National Police, Ukrainian Road Service, emergency situation, and other organizations. The headquarters allows quick response to any challenges and ensure quick information exchange within the country and with the public. Since our capital has an important transit significance for Ukraine, this is here. However, since the entire project is supposed to go for the entire nation, still all of the transport goes through the capital, which in a case of emergency threatens a complete halt of the city. However, this year, Ukrainian road service needed help in order to free passage for thousands of trucks that were approaching the city. And therefore, we were able to ensure passage not only through our roads, but also to help with the communal roads, utility roads within the capital. And therefore, the state significance road maintenance now is organized at an effective level. And it seems to us that the citizens of Ukraine are able to see it on the roads. What else was done? We implemented the mechanism of long-term contract for maintenance. We implemented weighing stations at key state roads of Ukraine. And also we, in fact, formed a new market for maintenance of the roads where not only state, but private stakeholders are involved. And we also have agreement with EBRD when Ukraine undertook the obligation for the development of private market of maintenance of roads, automobile roads in Ukraine. Every year, we have more and more private companies who are interested in maintenance of roads. And this is a positive process because the state receives good quality service for the maintenance, because there is competition and open procurement. So also private participants have benefit because during the winter period, this is non-construction period, their machinery and personnel are not at standstill, and they can be involved in maintenance for winter maintenance of roads, and therefore continue to make money and support their companies during this period as well. As of today, what we already have is that a private market, we have over 90 enterprises who are in maintenance. There are large enterprises, which allows for quick and good quality work. We see that lots of developments are done. However, we still have room for more development. And we are looking forward to the discussion of this theme of winter maintenance and hoping for further solutions that could be implemented by the Ministry of Infrastructure and directly in our state. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for the introduction from the ministry. From the list of participants, I know that a lot of commercial companies joined our seminar. So I think that Anna's information on development of this sector, particularly in winter road service, would be interesting. And I think that Ukraine is very open right now due to ministry efforts in bringing the best commercial practice to our market. So thank you, Anna, really for joining us. I know that you are very busy this time. I would like to then ask Andrij, Deputy Head of the State Road Agency of Ukraine, to deliver his opening presentation. Andrij, are you with us? Do you hear us? Andrij, I see that Andrij is with us and even with video, I think. Andrij, можете включить микрофон?
Добрий день. Не чути.
Good afternoon.
Зараз мене чути?
Can you hear me now?
Дякую, пане.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Igor.
Можна попросити вас
If I may,
загрузити презентацію зараз хвилинку?
I would just like to ask to show the presentation. And before that, let me run a little introduction. So greetings to you, Mr.
Вас на нашому семінарі. В Україні це вже
Sirs and madams, thank you for joining this seminar. This is the second event this year. Unfortunately, we are meeting online. I wish to show our guests the way our enterprise is working, operating during the winter maintenance season, or at least to show you our headquarters that we use to operate the situation, and where we able to track the road conditions. With regard to maintenance in the winter, we are able to see the presentation. So the infrastructural issues is the biggest areas of economy in Ukraine, and the well-being of many people depends on it, as well as competitiveness of the country in general at the external markets. So today I will be able to share with you the way we operate, where we're moving, and what are the plans, and what has been done over the last year and this year so far. So you see the slide. Ukraine has
Добре. Далі можна наступний слайд.
okay.
Десь один слайд пропав, але
Ukraine in general, I think I have lost one of the slides, but nevertheless, Ukraine has three different types of roads. It's municipal roads, state roads, and local roads. The state roads has about 170,000 roads. 47,000 of those are international roads and national regional roads, and territorial roads. So we have 123,000 of roads of local importance, and we have regional and village roads. So the Ukrainian State Road Service is the balancer of these roads, and we are responsible for maintenance of these roads. So the priority directions is to increase the number of contracts. So we year to year we improve quality, and we enhance system approach in implementation of the state policy and the road construction. So besides building the roads, we also maintain their serviceability. We're moving forward rather fast. We are implementing a weighing in motion weighing platforms, and 52 more will be implemented next year. So this is what we have done over the last several years. Last year, we were able to restore 4,000 kilometers of roads and 158 artificial structures. So this year, we were able to increase the scope of our works, and we're able to restore 5,098,000 kilometers of the roads, and about 11% of all the roads in Ukraine were restored. So over the 2 years, we were able to restore 42%, about out of all of the network of the roads. So you see the images of the objects that were completed this year. So R08, Nemyriv-Yampil, and then our southern roundabout for the deeper. This week, we will open this road. This is also M30 road for international road. This is the longest one in Ukraine, 1,400 kilometers. 97% of the road is completed. It's high quality, well done, and done in a very short period of time. The next slide, please. We're also talking about the changes that have been implemented, not only we're being aided by program products. So we digitalize, and we are moving toward the digital environment, and we're being helped in this regard. Right now, we're aiming to shape the database that will be used in ERP system. We're then able to track the progress of these works, the issues, and the system is helping to perform quick reaction for the dangers that emerge at the local regional level. So from the central office, we're able to see the monitoring of maintenance and winter maintenance of the roads. We also pay attention to cybersecurity solutions for the infrastructure in total. Our priority directions are the heat map, where we calculate the traffic, the way the works are performed. And besides that, we also have plans to implement in the nearest future the toll roads, for which the program products called e-road are being developed. Next slide, please. The results of the national program for bridge restoration. This is very important. Let me tell you about this program. This program has been enacted, and at the point where we started, we had 53% of artificial structures that were failing to comply. Can I ask to see my presentation, please? 53% of the artificial structures failed to comply. Over the last year, we were able to restore 213 artificial structures in 55. Thank you very much. This is the correct slide. Yes. This year, we had plans to restore 160 artificial structures. Their restorations and their construction, we're talking about bridges and roadways. So far, we were able to build 300 of those, 50 on the framework of maintenance program and 250 according to the national program. So the bridges that were built, the bridges through Luchka River and the road bridge to N01 road. The next slide, please. So lots of construction that was in frozen condition. Today, we are right now able to report that the construction is performed and completed. So N05, it's the build. M05, it's a Hadjibay estuary bridge. And then in Ivano-Frankivsk region, and another bridge in Marshinsy, in Rostoki. So these are the objects that were incomplete for last 8 to 15 years. So we were able to complete them in 2 years, and right now these bridges are restored or completed. Next slide, please. So for the future, these are the plans. We hope for the next several years to complete 770 new bridges and 15,000 kilometers of motor roads. Our primary directions will be working with Kiev Ring Road. Last week, the procedure for bidding was announced, and so we're in process of bidding. So when the subcontractor will win the bidding procedures, we will move toward construction of the ring road for Kiev area. So also commercial road, 280 kilometers, Krakovets-Brody-Rivne. The substantiation documentation is being prepared and will be filed by the end of the year. Then we'll have 2 more months for approval, and this will be a concession road that will be planned to launch in the nearest future. Kharkiv-Dnipro. This will be a very important connection between 2 major cities. Also construction for M24 to lead to the border with Hungary, and then M14 Alessa-Mariupol. And then we'll continue this road to the places where it's not reaching out yet. So Ukravtodor has built the plans for 10 years of the future development. So I believe that with joint efforts, we'll be able to transform the country and its roads. So let's move forward. Thank you for your attention. I'm eager to answer your questions if you should have any.
Thank you, Andrij. So from what we see from Andrij's presentation is that Ukrainian road industry is skyrocketing, and it will require, of course, the new technology. The Ukravtodor is now implementing digital technologies, and I think that this seminar will be helpful to implement new technologies in terms of road exploitation of that new roads, new bridges we have in Ukraine, or we are expecting. So, Andrij, thank you one more time, and I think that it's time for Peter Nutz to join us. Peter has put enormous efforts into making this seminar happen. Peter, please could you introduce yourself and your role in PIARC, because your committee is very important to today's topic. And Peter will be our moderator for the next part of the day after this panel.
Yeah, thank you, Igor. Yeah, welcome. I'm Peter Nutz. I'm chair of the committee Winter Service in PIARC for 2 years now or more. I don't know. It's time flies in this time. So we've been working on this seminar together, of course, with colleagues from Ukraine. Thank you also very much for your efforts. It's very nice to see so many people here. It would be even nicer if you could see you face to face, but well, it's maybe next time. And yeah, I want to say good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to all of you, because it's an international event, and I've looked through the guest list, and I've seen someone from Japan and from Northern or Southern America. So this is very important to keep in mind if you're speaking here, and it's really hard to find a good time for all of us, but it's on the other side, it's really good to see that people worldwide join the seminar, and I'm really happy about it. As time is running out, I'm just wanting to show some slides I presented, and we'll go rather quick through it. So to present RTC and what RTC, or the technical committee, is doing within PIARC. So let me start. With RTC, this is us during the first meeting we had in Paris. This was the first meeting of the cycle, and also the last meeting we had in person. So it's worldwide members, and it's really great working with this group, and thanks to all of them for helping me or working with me on this topic. So what we're doing is Patrick already mentioned some reports. I'm just showing you some reports we already did. They're already online. We're working on new ones, but there is one that's chaired by Steve Land about the transport management during winter events at borders or across borders. Another report about de-icing salt and brines and treatments and all the methods and techniques used in winter maintenance. It's the chair of this was Dr. Horst Hanke. He's also speaking in the seminar on Wednesday. And we've made questionnaires and case studies. And of course, the standardized data book, where you can find on 267 pages the winter maintenance of different countries, what they're doing in winter maintenance, a short overview. What they're also doing is seminars like this, or seminars in person, and of course the Congress. These are pictures from the last Congress in Gdansk in Poland. Unfortunately, the next one will not be held live. It will be virtual only, but I think it will be a very good virtual one. It's in Calgary, so Patrick already mentioned it. Registration is open, so we've got a whole week of winter service, road resilience. We've got over 60 sessions. It's 5 full days, and it's really a lot of sessions. Really interesting program. So please check it out and register, and hope to see you there. It's I think it's 28 sessions about winter service, and we've got over 200 presenters there. So it's also a great opportunity to know, to learn a bit more. So, well, that's for us, and thank you for your participation on this seminar. And I'll go back to this screen now. So it was a really short introduction from my side. It's 3 minutes only, but I will speak tomorrow about one special topic, and I want to start the first session. Now it's called New Technology in Winter Service, and we will start with a colleague of mine, Josef Neuhold. He's chair of the Austrian Winter Service Committee, and he will talk about the Austrian standards in winter service. Josef, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Peter. Many
Thank
greetings from. Can you also hear me?
Yes, great.
Yes.
Josef,
Many greetings from Austria, all around the world. I will now try to share my screen and start with my presentation. I will talk something about the winter service standards in Austria, what the rules and what are the new technologies in Austria we have, the legal requirements for winter service, winter maintenance categories in Austria, the strategies and development, and also the research projects we in Austria do. About our country in Austria, about 140,000 kilometers of road network we have in the center of Middle Europe. Highways and motorways are done by the ASFINAG, a private competition, and the regional roads and provincial governments for the cities or the federal states from Lower Austria's municipalities also. And in Austria, we have 240 road service stations. You can see the road network, the most one. I clicked, there's something back. No, the road network in Austria, the most one are the network for municipal roads, and the less and the higher highways and motorways done by the ASFINAG. They are all for winter service salt spreading routes. In other routes, it depends on the amount of traffic. Yes, also gritting material is used in Austria. As I said, motorways and federal highways administrated and operated by the ASFINAG, a private organization who earns money from using the road. The national roads administrated from the Austrian federal states, 9 Austrian federal states we have, and they are responsible for the road network in your state. The municipality roads administered by the cities or by the municipalities himself. The legal requirements for roads in Austria, we have an Austrian General Civil Law, ABGB it's called. You have a paragraph 1319A, liability of the keeper of the road. And here stands for summer and winter. If a person is injured or something is damaged because of a defective condition of a road, the person who is responsible for the proper condition is liable. And this one says that we have to do also winter service, and we are responsible. Who is the owner who is responsible for this road, for this way? Then we have in the road traffic regulation a paragraph, duties of the residents. Also, the residents have to do winter service in front of the houses. It says in the local area, residents must clear the sidewalk along the house from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the evening and grid it in case of icy conditions. They have to do their work, and when they can't do it, they have to make a contract with another who does this work. If there is no sidewalk, the roadside must be cleaned and gridded in a width of 1 meter in front of the house. So the residents have also to do winter service. In our working time, it's not so easy. Many houses are during the day is nobody at home. They have to organize who does the winter service in strong winter days. Definitively, what is to do for winter service? We have technical standards. These technical standards are papers done by the Austrian Winter Research Committee, where Peter and I in this group, and have listed it general definitions, and in the climb that's the number we can find on order this document. And the main document is snow clearing and gritting, understand how is to organize the winter service, what is to do with snow clearing, what is to do with greeting, what is the personal stuff to do, an own document for snow fences with regions with much snow drifts. A technical standard is a road condition information system, and also a paper about the minimization of environmental impacts. Environmental impacts, especially for de-icing agents. Now, is adapted to the last researches. A paper has the standards for the spreading agents. Spreading agents is also greeting material and de-icing agents is inside there, and the standards from the 10th European standard is also inside there. And also an instruction document for new people who come and introduced to winter service, and 2 small papers about snow bars, how they are built, how must they stand along the road. What are the winter service standards in Austria? There we have for highways and country roads 4 different categories. They depend on the amount of traffic. The highest category A are for highways and express roads, and the stands that have to do a winter service around the clock must do. And the cycle time is a maximum of 3 hours. That means a maximum of 3 hours, the snow blower spreading car must be there full fit to start the next round. That's a minimum standard. A minimum standard. We have highways with the cycle time about 40 minutes. At high level countries and roads, about 5,000 vehicles per day, ADT. That means 5,000 vehicles per day. At a cycle time of 5 hours, and winter service have done about 4 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the evening. That's the minimum standard. And who is responsible for the winter service has the opportunity to say, I order a winter service for around the clock in case of this situation. And then we have the next standard for roads for 1,000 to 5,000 vehicles per day. The next one, it's a shorter winter service time. And the next category, the lowest category for roads lower than 1,000 vehicles per day. And this table is written down what they have to do in category A, and of the left column is the weather situation: light snowfall, heavy snowdrift, avalanches, extreme ice, and freezing rain. Understand what the winter service station have to do, and also the winter maintenance time of circulation is inside there. That's all for highways and country roads. And then we have also for urban areas, as for cities and municipalities, with standards with 7 priorities. Priority 1 is the highest for inner city main roads, going less to priority 4 and 5 are priorities for cycling lanes. Cycling lanes have also done winter service. The last one, priority 6 for sidewalks, and 7 is the parking areas. And also for different weather situations, written down the standards what the winter maintenance station have to do as a minimum in this case of winter slight snowfall, heavy snowfall, and so on. And this table is also detailed written down at priority 1 in the case of low snowfall, plowing and slowing in the service time from 4 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, be 10 o'clock in the evenings, and the maximum snow depth around between 2 cycles does not more be than 10 centimeters. Treatment interval also 5 hours, and that is written down for each priority. And the last line to state the service condition after the treatment, what we expect when you have done the winter service, wet or dry road, slight detrications possible. In Austria, we have started 10-14 years ago with winter service research projects. The first one was to optimize of pre-wetting salt application. The pre-wetted salting was the standard for FS30, 30% brine and 70% dry salt. And we said in Austria, what can we do if with other brine amounts, brine 50%, 70%, and we had a research project with the Technical University of Vienna, where Peter Nutz works on the Technical University. He works also at this research project there. Yeah. And then we find the winter service, the spreading with other amounts of brine, and that's what the spreading sheets we had written new. And next one from the research project was the suitability of criteria for de-icing agents. In former times in Austria, it was only allowed to use vacuumated salt, rock salt cams, and we had no standard for that. And now we said, make a research project to test different de-icing agents. The last research project was the impact model spreading, clearing, the residual salts, where also snow plows are tested. Snow plows, how much snow stays on the road surface again after plowing. I found a test method to find out, because it's better, much more snow is clean from the road surface, and even lesser is the sowing material we are using. So the 3 research projects from Austria we have done. Now it's a research project actual, the research for corrosion of sowing materials. The preventive treatment got also a standard in Austria. Before it's got snowing, that is done a first spreading, especially with brine use. It's enough, brine spreading is enough, or if it's 70, especially 70% brine and 30% dry salt. But they built a release, a film on the road surface that the snow cannot freeze on the road surface, and you can good work with a snowplow. Here the next picture, the film on the road surface, and you can clean it and spray it again, and do that as long as the snow is ending. So the standard, because of this research project, we also spreading machines were changed, because we need more brine tanks on our trucks. The first step, we did it with additional brine tanks, because we sprayed more brine and less dry salt, because we see that the residual salt on the road surface is higher if you use more brine. In the picture, the left side down, you can see with the spreading pattern, only brine spreading on the road surface. It's possible on country roads, it's no problem. You need not nozzles. And we can reduce the salt consumption by FS50, called 50% brine and 50% dry salt, to 20% by FS60, 70% brine and 30% dry salt, for 40% reduced salt consumption, about the former standard FS30 with 30% brine. In Austria, we have also compare the salt spreading, compared especially for this chart. You can see how much salt is used in an organization for a lane kilometer on a salt spreading day, on one day where a salt spreading, and how much they use. And so we compare the 9 different federal states and also the ASFANET, the private organization who's responsible for the highways and motorways. With other different, as goes down with how much kilogram per square meter they use. And it's a good instrument to optimize your winter service. And when we discuss what did you do, and also we have compared how much brine the different organizations use. And also in the federal stage, the maintenance stations, we have charts where we compare the different maintenance stations in the similar climatic conditions. So thank you. Then I can say what the standards in Austria, the rules for winter service within Austria, and what we are working with research projects and to optimize our winter service there.
Thank you, Josef. So just a reminder, there will be questions and answers after this session. So we've got 2 more speakers, but please feel free to ask your questions using the online form. It's been posted in the chat right now, I think. There are already some questions in there, and we will answer them during the questions and answers afterwards. So our next speaker is Anna Arvidsson from Sweden. Anna, yeah, you turned your camera on, so I think you can hear me. Anna, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Just
Okay,
need a phone, a microphone as well.
Okay, well, Anna, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Should try to show my screen. And I hope you can see it now. Yeah, my name is Anna Arvidsson. I work for VTI as a senior researcher. That's the Swedish National Road and Transport Research Institute. And I do mainly research about winter maintenance in all different ways. And I will present one of the more recent projects I had. in winter. And it's been a collaboration with a contractor and a software company. Yes, a long time ago, we had horses driven the plows, and they were started cleaning when I think there were enough snow to be cleared. And when the cars came around, they started to put plows on the cars or tractors to clear the roads. Nowadays, it looks a little bit more like this. This is from the US, where the big parallel cleaning goes on. And then we have digitalizations, but we still don't have apps that can make the maintenance for us, but they could actually be of good help. It started out in the 70s with the road weather information system, with stations around the roads placed in cold spots or more extreme positions on the roads. They were measuring temperature and wind and precipitation. And the operation manager had to call out to each station to see what weather was at the moment. And now he can get all this information back to his phone or computer in the office. And he has a lot of different other sources to use to get the weather forecasts, temperature, precipitation, road conditions, friction measurements, and everything you can wish for. It's there, you just need to organize it in a good way. The road weather information system, almost, at least many of them have cameras on today. It could be of good help to see if the road is dry or if it's snowy or slushy, but sometimes it's too much snow so you can't even see the road. There's a snowy road between all the snowflakes. This was a couple of weeks ago, close to where I live. The snow is still on the ground. We also have connected cars today that can tell the operators or drivers coming behind you to tell you the warnings if the road is slippery ahead. This vehicle data can actually be used both to check if the actions have been done proper ways for the NRAs to check it up, or for the forecasters to use as help for self-control when they do the forecasts for coming hours. And the forecasts goes to decision support systems, and the contractors can use it to make good prognosis on when it's time to go out and do the actions on the road. The project I was involved in was called Dynamic Forecast Controlled Winter Road Maintenance. And we took all different kind of data and put it together. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. We have several road weather forecast services that can provide qualified support for decision makers today. They can easily see forecasts for road conditions and temperature precipitations. Service provide a dynamic road condition forecast, and in some cases, does it even give proposals for the different actions that's needed on the road. Main advantages with these systems is that the forecast clearly can show you which part of the road that need to be addressed and where you actually need the most salt, or if it's salt already left there since the last time you were out and did your action. So if we have all these systems to help us, how can we make it easier for the driver and get all this information out to the person driving the truck and doing the salt spreading? This project mostly took care of preventative salting. So plowing and all those things is to come in the future, I hope. So why do we want to make it dynamic optimization? We want to do it because we can have different weather in different sections of the road, and if we can optimize this, it's gonna get us more money in the end. We're gonna save money in the end. And today we have a labor market that's very flexible. We have short contracts, increased delivery controls, personnel retiring, and it's quite difficult to get the personnel to work in winter maintenance. So with these new systems, we can actually take the road weather station, get a bigger picture of it and see how the weather is going to be in 4 hours or something, and see, and you can plan ahead in a different way. If this light gray area is the area you need to treat all this, and lots of bigger and smaller roads, just as Josef told in his presentation, that the different types of roads with different kind of treatments. If we have a route optimization of this, it could be looking like this, and different cars driving in different colors. Some sections of the road are really complicated to drive. But if we take all this and put it together, and then we know, okay, I have the need of 5 cars or something, then I call them out. I don't have to call them one by one as you used to. You can use the computer, and the computer calls or send them a text asking, would you do this route? Can you go out and do your work in an hour? And the driver can say, yes, I'm fine, I do that. Then he gets the navigation route sent to his truck, and he just go to the truck and start driving and gets instructions. The aim of the project was to make the decision making easier for the people taking decisions, integrate data from the weather forecast service to existing GPS management and monitoring systems, reduce the error margin regarding communication between performer and the winter maintenance contractor, and get the more productive winter road maintenance with dynamic road conditions throughout integration and automation, and in the end, a better road. The project has been in 5 phases so far. The first phase was to try to see if it actually worked to do like we thought it should be done. And the second phase was to implement the project and try to adapt it in the real world. Started with try to make the call out, and then the call out with a static route. The third thing we did was do the call out with navigation on the static route, and then in the end, call out with navigation and dynamic road. So this is from phase 1, where we had, this was the forecast. The red is where it should be, where the prognosis says it's going to be slippery. You need salt. We did an optimization with 2 vehicles and got this example. And if we done it like this, would been really good. Since this was just a test, we compared it to the actual performance. The whole area the driver has, the operation manager had is the whole thing here in the third map. He had 5 vehicles going out doing all of his roads. In this case, we actually saved 60% of salt and time. So it could have been a lot cheaper than it actually became for the manager this day. But since he didn't trust our prognosis, he did the way he usually do. Better to be safe than sorry. And we saw that the concept was working. Calculated reductions in machine hours, reduction of salt and emissions by 15 to 25% throughout the winter season. And this was in 2019, I think. And then last winter, we did a verification in a test area. And it actually worked. It was, the numbers was correct when we did it in real. Phase 2, here we tried the whole chain from the forecast with the optimizations, with the call out, with the driver saying yes or no. He had a choice. If he said no, we call out another driver. We sent the route to the truck, and he gone out on his shift and followed the map he got. All the functions was working, and the only problem was how good are the forecasts in the beginning? Because if the forecasts aren't good, it could be trouble down the road. In February 19, we did the first real try of this. We think it's the world premiere or similar program, at least. It was done up here, just 200 kilometers or something west of Stockholm. For the last winters, we also had done phase 3 with residual salt, because if there already are a lot of salt left on the road, we don't need to go out and do an additional salting. This graph show wet, damp, and dry road, and how long, well, how many cars actually the salt can withstand. We did measurement of salt at test site E18. That's a test area on a highway. We have sensors and road weather stations, and we can measure almost everything in and above the road. Here's my colleague. He's doing salt samples starting from the edge of the road and throughout both lanes. This was done in November last year. And the day before we were here, there was no precipitation. At the moment when he sat there, there was 4 degrees in the air and 6 degrees on the surface road, the road surface. They had salted in the morning before we arrived. We used the VTI wet salt sampler that actually we have a syringe where we know the amount of distilled water. We put it in a cylinder against the road, and the salt is soluting, and we can measure the conductivity in the water. We also take a sample back to the lab and to verify our measurements. So we actually measure the correct amount. And this was what we measured that day, not high amount of salt. but still there. It's variated throughout the road. This is the right edge, and this is in the middle of the road over here. And the red rings are the validation we did with samples we sent to the lab. We tested against all different kind of sensors at the test site. Those on the big picture here, the small black dots, was at the moment dry, so they said no salt. So we couldn't compare with those. We have this graph is from one of the road weather stations, and it's at 7:15 we salted 12 grams per square meter, so about here, and then around here somewhere we measured salt just next to it. We measured 1.5, I think. 1.5, and the sensor said 0.3. So a little bit of difference, but since we solute all the salt on the road, and the sensor always also only can feel the amount of salt on the sensor, and it need to be in solution. That's the difference in what we measured and what the sensor is measuring. The salt was gone in 4 hours, and that's equivalent to what we thought it should be. We also did modeling with the modeling of residual salt model that was a collaboration with Nordic companies in residual salt a few years ago. The dotted line is between the wheel tracks, and the wheel tracks are the solid line. You can see here when the salting was occurring, it rise quite quickly and then soon after disappeared again in the wheel tracks. Between the wheel tracks, it stayed on. So it wasn't really compared to what we measured in field. We were around here when we measured our values of a little bit higher than when the model says 0. If we did the model without wind, it stayed on a little bit longer. So we need to do more experiments with calibrating this model. But unfortunately, we had too little of time, or too few occasions with snow. So we couldn't actually do a good validation of the model. I'm soon finished. I see time is running out. Salt spreading. We tried to actually do steering files for the salt spreader as well in phase 4. And it's actually working. When the driver gets his map, the car also gets his information. So the salt truck is spreading salt where it should spread more or less or nothing. The driver also, all the driver has to do is to drive. And this is actually going to be tested this winter in real, and also this winter will also continue with improved forecasts, where the forecasters can get access to more data and do their better road weather prognosis. Conclusion of this is that this project can be a contribution to decrease salt use, decrease emissions and air pollutions, decrease reduce at least a little bit the stress for the drivers, and decreases in travel times for the road users. We were a few companies in this, and a few contributors of money for fundings. And I'm going to thank you for your attention and take questions in the chat, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. There are already some questions for you in the chat.
Okay.
But we'll
take them later.
Yes, we will take them later. We have one more presentation before we go into the questions and answers. So Anna, thanks again. And our next speaker will be Yevhen Kubarskyi. It's about use of new salt technologies in winter road maintenance.
Zaraz.
So, floor is yours. Is everything working? I saw the presentation shortly, but it's gone now again.
Євгене, ми вас не чуємо.
Okay, I can see it in full screen now, so, well, okay, floor is yours. Let's go.
Да, чутно мене зараз?
Can you hear me now? Yes, I hope you can hear me now.
We can.
Good afternoon. I'm representing, we're the company that is responsible for maintenance of the roads. This is one of the important routes for our company in order to perform high quality maintenance. We have developed a special division in our company. And in 2021, we have opened a new direction of our activities as seasonal maintenance. The pilot project for us is Kyiv-Odessa M05 road. We are within Kyiv region. We were one of the first subcontractors who began to maintain the roads of the state importance. And currently, we have set the new standards for maintenance. We work at the 28 different production sites, and we have invested in roadworks equipment by Turkish, Croatian, and Ukrainian manufacturers. So, Malléjacq, over the last 2 years, we have purchased about 60 versatile road maintenance machines. We have a park of 138 machines. So far we have 280 units of the road maintenance machinery and 500 workers working for us. Every year, we expand the geography and the length of serviced roads. Currently, the company is serving the road between Kiev and Rivne. It's 6.5 thousand kilometers. Dnipropetrovsk region, 2,826 kilometers. In Kiev region, it's 1,114 kilometers of roads. It's Kyiv-Odessa roads and other main roads. Chernihiv region, 1,600 kilometers of roads. In Odessa region, 732 kilometers. M05 roads in Odessa, Rivne road, In Kharkiv, 265 kilometers of roads. In 2022, after autoroads south, we have repaired the road pavement at 670,000 square meters. For implementation of these works, we have used about 85 tons of asphalt pavement mixtures. Maintenance is the big complex of works. During the winter, it's road cleaning, salting, snow plowing, and implementation of passive road snow blocking techniques. Using the snow plows is very effective to prevent the snow building. And in case of ignoring this works, the snow can build up, and in order to alleviate the snow build-up, we need to use the rotor snow plows. So we use the whole range of necessary techniques in machinery. So snow plows are used together with rotor snow plows. In order to clean the road, we also use excavators and loading machinery. So all this machinery is most effective at the bus stops and then platforms, for rest platforms, in the U-turns, and also at the parking lots. So during the spring and warmer season, we maintain the road in the road cracks and potholes. We fix the fencing, install the road signs, and may perform other road works. During the winter time, the northern after Maestral Pivden, the company is performing all the emergency road maintenance. We're able to use cold and concrete of up to 5 centimeters thick in case the if it's necessary, it's done in 2 layers. If we have a steamroller, this compaction can be done in one take, and then the recommended footage is at least 2 square meters. The edges of the prepared block have sharp, deep edges, and also we use the technology of liquid asphalt concrete. This is the new material used with pouring techniques with bitumen and different grade rock. Asphalt is transported in the mixers like these that provide for mixing of the necessary components in the necessary proportions. This is a very liquid material. It is floating at 220 centigrades. In the process of application, the material becomes solid and very resistant to any physical impact. We use modern day materials and methods to fight ice. We use both salt, saline solutions. We have specific salt bunkers in order to store technical salt. Salt spreading is used for the base, for the vehicle as a base, and we transport salt technologies. We transport salt. So use of salt technologies comparing to saline solutions in mix will be able to help us to save on time and save on costs. Will provide for better transportation regardless of the weather conditions. We have implemented the technology of treatment together with reagents on the basis of saline solutions. This technology is used in the company. The additional equipment is used both for preparation and for spreading. The saline solutions is prepared by mix of with water in a to thick solution. So the solution is not freezing under -16 centigrades. The wet salt is heavier and the wind, it is resistance to wind is improved. The wet salt is also very efficient during dry snow, during the lower temperatures. All the equipment used are actually designated to specific roads and parts of the roads, and they are equipped with GPS trackers, and our dispatch services are located in Kiev region and Dnipropetrovsk region are able to track and monitor the situation on the roads. The company engineers have developed and agreed the technology layouts, and copy of these technological maps are issues to drivers and mechanics. We perform ongoing training, the road service supervisors. We train personnel to act in different emergency situations. It's very important to have the team that knows different technology processes used in that acts responsibly in extreme situations of the winter weather. So it's very important for our company. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. It was really interesting, and it was really cool to see a lot of snow that you've been plowing through the roads. Really impressive pictures and videos. Thank you. So as we have one speaker missing in our second session later today, I think we will shift the coffee break by 10 minutes and start the questions and answers now. So the first question goes out to any of the speakers. There is still no alternative to salt, is there? And compared with in Ukraine, sodium chloride is largely used and calcium chloride not. So what's your opinion on this? Josef, Anna, again, any opinion on
Yes,
salt or
okay. Sodium chloride also is the standard in Austria. In former times we had magnesium chloride, calcium chloride, but we saw that, and for these temperatures, we need in winter service about -15, 16 degrees. It's the same reaction we can do with sodium chloride. And deeper temperatures, the snow, it's hardly that it's snowing, temperatures -20 degrees, but such temperatures, the snow himself is very grippy. We decided in Austria, because the same effect we can have with sodium chloride temperatures, well, from 0 to 10, 14 degrees minus, and therefore, and it's especially cheap and has the advantage that the road surface is really dry after working, especially to compared with sodium chloride and calcium chloride. It's the problem that this road surface can be slippery and is always very wet because of the hydro effect from the material. Okay.
Okay. And then a follow-up questions. So Josef, you mentioned FS 100.
Yes.
This is 100% brine. Yes, I can tell it. But what
Yes.
concentration is the brine then?
The brine concentration is about 20%. By 100 brine, 22%. If it's 30, 50, I always say you can work with 18% brine, because the freezing temperatures depends from the brine himself. But 100 only brine used without hard material, say 22%, 20 to 22%, and not more, When you use dry salt and brine, we always say 18% that we have also free water, and on the spread-on pattern, the free water can get in reaction with the dry salt to bring it in brine, and the dry salt must not need not the water from the snow. It works easier. And it's not good to make a brine with a total solution. Maximum, as I said, always is only use brine FS 100 is 22% concentration.
Thanks. And the other FS 13. So let me just answer this. Could this mean it's 30% brine and 70% dry salt? It's going to be mixed up on the spreading dish.
FS 50.
Yes. And so then I've got one question for Anna. What is the average number of winter temperature transitions through 0 degrees a year in Sweden, and the average lowest temperature in which the surface treatment is carried out by anti-terrain materials?
The first question was it how many
Question,
times?
how many transitions around 0 degrees, so from positive to negative per year?
That's a number I can't answer because it's so different from the north of Sweden and the south. It differs so much in climate. I actually don't have an exact number of it, but the treatment is salting down to -12, I think, on the state roads.
Okay. So, and what's the actual lowest temperature in Sweden? It's lower than this.
We can get lower than this. We had, also depending on which part of the country, there were a few temperatures lower than -40 last week up in the north. We had, where I live, -15. It's really uncommon to get this cold, especially this time of the year. If you get the really cold spells are later in February or something. But this is where I live in Southwest, we get -3 as an average in January and February. And up north, it could be really cold.
So then another question to you, Anna. How and who controls the quality of road cleaning?
They do follow-up measurements of friction. Now they actually do follow-up friction tests with personal cars, not specially equipped vehicles, just different brands of cars driving around and reporting if they have loss of friction.
So you measure the friction, so it's not possible that the snow plows only drive around and do not spread any salt or anything else?
No, we actually do measurements of friction, and they have on the large highways with the most traffic on, there's a limit of 0.35, I think, in friction. Okay. That has to be reached. Otherwise, the contractors have to pay a fine.
So it's very strict rules for the contractors, I guess, then. Okay. I've got one more question for Mr. Kubarskyi. It's the official of which level in the company agrees to the output of snow cleaning equipment in the event of overtime falling snow per day? I don't know if I get the translation correctly. Igor, maybe you can ask the question in Ukraine.
Так, звичайно. Мене чутно?
The last one.
Чути добре.
Питання наступне. Посадова особа якого рівня у вашій компанії погоджує вихід техніки на прибирання снігу у випадку понаднормового випадання снігу за добу?
Okay, in case there's too much snow over the amount of what is expected per that day, who is approving the decision for additional machinery to be out on the streets to clean in the company? Is it a top leadership or what leadership management solution that is in your company?
Євгене, я надіслав питання у чат вам, щоб ви могли прочитати.
This is for Yevhen and his company.
Євгене, ви нас чуєте?
Yevhen, are you still with us?
Doesn't seem so.
It's either the connection or he's away for.
So there's a follow-up question
Добре, тоді.
about Sweden. So Anna, it's you again. So with the change of climate during the past few years, have you seen any changes in snowfalls and ice formation in Sweden?
Yeah, there's a variation naturally in the climate, but if I compare last 20 years or something, it's been warmer and warmer, and there's actually, you can actually see the changes if you go by numbers. You can see that it's getting warmer, it's getting fewer occasions with snow. Here in the south, there are fewer transitions with 0 degrees. Up in the north, it's increasing the changes around 0. And salting has been spread up north as well on some of the roads, just to be safe. So the climate change is noticeable.
I can just tell about Vienna. We had the last 5 or 10 winters, almost no snow, and it's already 20 centimeters this year, last week.
This year is incredible.
It's going to be a good winter this year.
Yeah, but it's disappearing now. Now we have 2 degrees plus, and it's gonna disappear until Christmas.
So so there is no other anti-icing agents. This question comes a lot that are aware, because as far as I know, it's sodium chloride for most of us, but
I think sodium chloride is used mostly because it's cheaper. Yeah. The calcium chloride and the mix of calcium and sodium is working, but it could be more corrosive with calcium.
Thanks a lot. So this is all the questions I think I've had, and I think we can go for a coffee break now and meet again at 4 or at 3, depending on which time zone you are. It's 3 Paris time or 4 in Ukraine, I think. And so in 10 minutes, have a 10-minute coffee break. I think I hope everybody had a good coffee and some break. And I think we can go into the second session. But before we do this, I think can you start the session? Yes, sir.
Yes, we can. We can begin.
Okay.
I can begin with the question that Yevhen did not answer. I think it might be logical to speak about it again. We said in the chat, who is the person within your company who makes the decision on sending the machinery under special condition additionally over hours? I can read the question, but I sent it to you and to everybody. I read it you and I understand the question. That's a good question. Thank you for sending it. In every region, we have a road maintenance section head, and he is the one who sends information, makes the decision on to sending the machinery into the field. He makes the command to the road master, road heads who are sending out specific vehicles onto the road according to the presentation slides, the last three slides that I presented. There is a certain diagram and a pre-made scheme of how we do it. Thank you very much, Yevhen.
So Peter, I think we're ready to move on, and I see that Alexandra is an analyst. So Peter, do you start this panel?
I had some connection problems, but yes. Yes, let's start the second session. There are some other questions, Anna, but maybe we start with the session, and if we have time later, maybe we can do this. So the second session is about digitalization of roads and winter maintenance process. And we've got two speakers. First is Alexandra Azarhina about best practices and quality management for the winter maintenance in Ukraine.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, the floor is yours. I already see the presentation.
Okay, my name is Alexandra Azarhina. I'm a director of the reform support team at the road agency. First of all, I would like to start with a description. What is it, the reform support team? Happily for Ukraine, after the Euromaidan revolution in 2013, we received a technical support coming first of all from the European Union and also from other partners such as US, UK and Japan and other countries. So we have funds to finance our experts to help first of all to make our legislation closer to the European standards and really to help the state transform. And of course, I'm responsible for the projects in the road sector. And before we come to the questions of the road maintenance and general approaches, I would basically say about what we have at the plate. So that's true that now we have a huge interest in the road sector in general in the country. It became a political priority starting from the 2020. And at the moment we have the biggest roads renovation program ever. I think, and I checked it a bit, that a lot of previous speakers talk about it. So all those processes, they created a lot of opportunities for business, for companies, but also it was a big challenge for the public institutions because never before they mean to have as much projects to be implemented simultaneously in every region. First of all, we have understanding to realize these projects. We have a systematic approach, and we have strategic goals for that. We have understanding that we need to reform the financing structure. We need to work on the attraction of the private funds into the sphere. And of course, at the moment when we started, we had nearly 95 roads in a bad condition. After our hard work, we finalized renovations at 37% of the main road network, so the principal roads. And that means that when we will finish with our big, great construction project, the key question will be about the road maintenance. And it's an interesting question for all the road market players, because as they have a big experience now working with the construction, they need to remake their approaches. The state need to rethink its approaches to make sure that all those renovations will be safeguarded, and at the same time, the market will be vivid as it was before. So here is some numbers about like big projects, and here is more important about information about the cooperation between our key partners such as EBRD, European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, because they, as one of our investors, they help us to implement key reforms. First, it's anti-corruption action plan, so anti-corruption reform. Second, it's reform basically oriented to the infrastructure for the e-vehicles, because at the moment, any of the road repairs, they nearly do not think or consider the necessity for the infrastructure for e-mobility. The procurement reform and the road safety reform. Those reforms, they are implemented together with the biggest consultants of the EBRD. And so that's how we work. We analyze, then we prepare the gap analysis, and based on the gap analysis, we prepare the plans. So here it's a short slide dedicated to the anti-corruption action plan. Why it's important to talk about it? Because of course, when we talk about the maintenance or we talk about the general construction works, it's not only about the techniques and technologies. I think that there are other colleagues who are much more experienced in this type of things, because of course we're challenging those standards as well. But it's all about the effective use of public budgeting. So here we completed this anti-corruption action plan, and we hope to have a road agency to be the first public institution in Ukraine to be certified by the ISO anti-bribery management system. And it's rather a big achievement for the Ukrainian public institutions. The second is about the procurement reform. Here it's more difficult, of course, because we are working on the two separate levels. First level, it's a certification by Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply, more known as a CIPS in Ukraine, certification program dedicated to the procurement. And the second is we are working on the implementation of a new system of the cost estimation system, more well-known system SASM, which actually came from the British civil engineers. And at the moment, it's a revolution for Ukraine, because if before we worked the standards and the forms of the cost estimation, which are coming from the planned economy, sourced from the Soviet Union times, when it was all, about well-structured and planned economic without, direct market rule, more about the state, standards, and everything was dictated by this. Now it's a different story, and of course it has its influence at every step of the road maintenance and all projects in the sector. The third, it's more detailed about construction and cost estimation reform. As I mentioned, it's a really new approach to the estimating of the construction and public tendering of the infrastructure projects in the road sector. And instead of the use of the Soviet remnant, an updated normative regulated SMETA, Ukravtodol starts classifying and measuring the civil engineering work based on this British well-known system. It's important. It will take some time to implement the reform at the full scale, but it's important for us because it's like already nearly 2 years when we started this discussion about the cost estimation with world market players, and they actually underline that before we reform this system of the cost estimation, they will not enter the market. And at the moment, it's a huge step. Road safety reform, it's more about standards, like a traffic calming standards, bypass roads, and of course, like frankly speaking, we do have issues about this because Ukraine still has very high numbers of deaths at roads, and like all our renovations, we are trying to make them safer, to make it more comfortable and predictable for users. Still, it's a huge question because, for example, if we're talking about the winter maintenance, of course, now it's winter outside here in Kiev, and it's huge question for all players to make everything to be safe, to be predictable again. And just lately we had a big catastrophe where nearly 20% died at the road. It was international road, and it was like an accident where we show that it was absent the road, factor in the accident. It was more about the regulations on the passenger traffic. Still, it's a huge issue because, of course, it's all about the safety and all about the necessity to clean road, to maintain road, to really think about roads as an asset, because I think that's the biggest question and really the most difficult question for general approaches in the road sector is to make sure that the actually road agencies, special road agencies in regions, they need to change the attitude towards the roads and do not consider them as just, object which you need to have some works to be done, but to consider it as a road asset at which you need to invest, at which you need to attract finances and to use them wisely, including them such contracts as OPRC or else, which are rather new to Ukrainian contract system. So, and I will not stop at the digitalization reform because like I have other colleagues who will talk about it in details, but it's really important because like when we digitalize everything, it's easier for us to control, to check all factors. For example, the catastrophe we had this months, if we will already implement the system, we call it e-passenger, that would really help us to, you know, to work better with all transporters, to work not only with the infrastructure, but also with the road users, and to make this to be the unique and general system, digitalized system, which will provide as much data as possible to prevent such catastrophes in general. So road maintenance data, that's something more important than about the topic of our seminar. Data from the vehicles, GPS navigator, that's what we implemented already in 2019. Grading road passports with data on works with the road maintenance. That's what we're doing now. Planning for maintenance road based on instrumental data on road conditions. Contractors e-office within 24/7 functionality. Traffic restrictions on emergency data based on usual complaints. Planned and actual data of road works performance. So that's actually the basic for new approach to road maintenance based on the end result, or PIARC. I could share also an important example of the cooperation between a road agency and one of the navigators. It's called Waze. A lot of users in Ukraine use it, first of all, in the cities. Still, it's users outside the city. And we actually established automized system of exchange of the information with this navigator. So we have possibility to receive all data from the application, from the drivers, and in the same time we can share, you know, push notification and urgent notification through the application if they come in from the road agency. That's not something which is totally 100% automatized. So there are, you know, people sitting at the computers sharing information. So there's something to work. Still, it's a good example where, you know, something which is already exists at the market, the application, that's something which people use, and it's just merged into the state system. And we hope that with the new data from the vehicles which work on the maintenance project during the winter, with other of our projects such as e-passenger, we will have this, you know, ecosystem where it will be safely and important to share this information with all respect to the privacy and everything, but first of all to make it system predictable. So, sorry if I jump from the topic to topic. I will be ready to answer all your questions, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. It's been a great presentation and really on time. So before the questions and answers, we will have the second presentation, and we will have the questions and answers after that. So the second presentation from session 2 will now be from Roman Commandant about the path of digitalization of Ukrainian roads. So,
Доброго дня, вітаю всіх учасників
Good
семінару.
afternoon. Greetings to all of the
Thanks
participants.
to all of the participants of the seminar, and I would like the presentation to be on the screen. Thank you.
Can you please turn on the presentation? Thank you.
Дякую.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Отже, зі свого боку,
So from my
Therefore, on
side,
my part, I would like to share on the
вже впровадив і частково продовжую.
I will tell you about the news and implemented by Ukravtodor. Currently, there is a united platform to collect all the data that incorporates a wide spectrum of analytical instruments. This platform contains information about all of the contracts with the subcontractors, current progress, possibility to track the percentages of completion, specifically within like scale of 1 day, 3 the week, several weeks, month, and so eRoad is complementing all of the stages of construction and maintenance of the roads. from the idea when we need to build or reconstruct to the specific place of the road to the point of implementation and maintenance. So let me tell you about the key modules that this platform is comprised of. It's a model of construction and repair, then all maintenance module, and also reporting and planning module, as well as weight in motion, implemented all across Ukraine. These are the modules that is being placed in all different areas of Ukraine on the roads to weigh the vehicles in progress of motion, and also electronic procurement module. Construction and repairs module helps us to control the volumes, the progress, and the remaining works to be done per object. On a daily basis, we see information being inputted on every type of works on a specific section of the road. So these sections, they exist in different regions. And then now the information is being incorporated in a single project, as with M30. That's the road that unites several regions of Ukraine, united in a single project. And we see the implementation for the project in general, as well as we could see in detail all of the infrastructure objects located on the road. It can be a weighing station, can be a intersection, it can be a bridge. So every object has the general information as well related to the project, as well as specific information related to the specific section, general description, the type of works completed, the type of works to be processed. And so this helps us to track the process in almost real time. Next slide, please. The next module that we are actively using currently is the electric procurement module that is fully integrated with Prozor system. In order to implement this module, we also have the module of integration with state treasury and architecture and city construction administration of inspection of Ukraine. So Prozor is the key module for procurement, and this module helps us to control the quality and quantity of purchases performed by Ukravtodor in general, per region, as well as in Ukraine in general. So it allows us to generate information related to the goods purchased. So whether it's for maintenance, whether it's support, whether it's actual construction projects. So we see information on planned dates, the recent changes to procurement bids, how many bidding procedures are planned for the next week, how many bidding procedures have complaints about that, how many are procedures that were completed, both full and simplified procedures. This is helping us to forecast our current month or week and to perform active monitoring of procurement process in order to fulfill the planned time frames and complete it in time. Next slide, please. There's a separate module that was implemented, is related to weighing stations in motion, weighing in motion. By the end of the year, we have plans to complete and to launch 102 weighing complexes, weighing stations. Currently, we are in automatic mode, collect all the data from all of the completed complexes it is being sent to all the data management centers. And so this data flow goes to the state road traffic patrol, where traffic police can actually see the picture of what is happening and actually perform enforcement. So we also believe this will help to cut the cost for maintenance of the roads and will actually extend the life of the roads. Currently, there's no region left where weighing stations in motion are actually not being built. So you see the map shows already implemented, in process, and planned weighing stations. So this information that comes to the central database, we need to analyze it and build reports for better processing, better information visualization. So for this reason, we have implemented the reporting and planning module, as you can see on the next slide. So this gives us at one-page report information related to the situation in Ukraine and each specific region. So you can see the maintenance in construction procedures. We see how much work has been completed in the previous day, in the previous week, and we see the dynamics versus the plan on Ukrainian level as well as on regional level. So we can compile the top regions, and then we can compile it into top subcontractors for specific types of works. So you can see the physical characteristics according to the types of works, as well as financial characteristics. Next slide, please. Since we have the main load is related to construction of portion of works is related to construction and fixing of the roads. We also, however, pay attention to maintenance. And so digitalization of road maintenance is in active phase. We developed the maintenance module of our software where this will track the works of related to the maintenance, and will also, based on instrumental data, we will assign budgets to specific road sections. So we'll have to monitor the movement on transportation vehicles related to winter maintenance. And we will also collect the data related to maintenance for further analysis and for further planning procedures. So with regard to our plan, so the digitalization within our structure, if I could see the next slide, please. What we'd like to build is we'd like to automate the bidding documentation. We can develop account for contractors and technical supervision so they can see the field real-time information. We would like to build the information database. We would like to build this united contact center and create the coordinated monitoring system for the road machinery. And another initiative is to introduce unified electronic documentation management system for our subcontracting businesses. And we'd like to develop the network of traffic monitoring stations in order to be able to build the heat maps of the road traffic on the territory of Ukraine. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Good, so let me see. There is one question. It's maybe for both of you who just spoke. I was interested in, you spoke a lot about tenders and the contractors, and I was wondering how long is a typical contract for road maintenance? I think if that road maintenance is 1 season or 1 year, or is it longer, like 10 years or in between somewhere?
Так, на сьогоднішній день є
Yes, as of today, are long-term contracts for that last as long as 3 years.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions? I've got one more. I've seen on one slide the network of road cameras. It's in the first presentation. This was to build up the network of road cameras. Is it cameras for the maintenance guy, or is it to just traffic cameras? And who is able to watch this camera, or what they film? Is it public, or is it only contractors and road maintenance?
Дякую за запитання.
For your question, these cameras that are installed by the road services, the access to these cameras is available to the road services in the region and at the headquarters. Also, we have a large network of cameras that is at the WIM complexes, the weigh in motion complexes. And the access to those cameras is not at the headquarters only, but the road service agency, and also at the Ministry of Internal Affairs at their request. Right now, these cameras carry out the function of just observance. There is this video flow. For the future, as I said, we would like to establish the traffic intensity hubs. So there are going to be cameras with analytical functions that are going to analyze the flow of the traffic. They will be able to identify the vehicles and signal any events. For example, holding or suspension of a certain vehicle, or certain objects emerging at places where they shouldn't be.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions. I've got one last question because I've got this weight in motion a lot. So is it just for you to check that the trucks are not overloaded, or is it another background?
Транспортні засоби зовсім не зупиняються, це зважування
In the WIM, the vehicles do not stop at all. They can have the speed of up to 130 kilometers per hour. Some of these facilities have passed their certification, and they forward their data to the enforcement agencies, where they can already provide information for fines if necessary.
Thank you. So I'm just checking one more time. I don't think we have any more questions in session 2. So, well, I think that's the last point from today. Thank you to all of you for the presenters, for all the questions, for all the participants who participated. Thank you also for the translators for their work. It's been pretty good as far as I can tell. And from my side, so maybe Igor, something to add from your side?
Yeah, colleagues, first of all, I want to thank every participant who joined us and every speaker who was dedicated to the input. And first, I want to tell that today we have starting of the seminar at the same time, 2 p.m. Kyiv time, 1 p.m. Paris time, Central European time. So first, I invite everyone to join, and I want to tell that we have a brilliant speaker tomorrow, Peter Nutz, who will be not the moderator, but the speaker tomorrow. So I think everyone will join us. And of course, I want you to share the link to this seminar with your colleagues who missed it, maybe, because this is a unique opportunity to have a conversation with the specialists from all over the world. Please check up the agenda for tomorrow. Yeah, we have the translation for tomorrow as well. So I would be happy to see every one of you tomorrow and your colleagues who missed this opportunity today, but maybe you give them an opportunity to know more tomorrow. Peter?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So good afternoon, or good morning, or good night, wherever you are, and hope to see you tomorrow.
Thank you, colleagues. Bye-bye.